This will take us to somewhere near the halfway line.
Earliest memory absolutely was April 1946, when my dad brought me here and we beat Swinton 76-3. And a few years after that, I skipped out of school one midweek afternoon and amazingly we beat Australia 21-3. To be fair, it was their first game of the tour, but nevertheless we beat them 21-3. That's what's in the record books.
Are there any other interesting stories you've got about your time and visiting what is now the old Fartown ground?
Well, it's my first love, you know. This is where it all began for me, with this wonderful team of Australians and Scots and Welsh and so on. All of those people, they were just wonderful. The team, like Hunter, Henderson, Kiwi winger, running the Empire Games. Pepperell from Cumberland, Devery and Cooper from Australia, a local lad as he was then, Peter Ramsden, who won the Lansdowne Trophy in 1953. The last time we won the cup, I might add, we were absolute underdogs. And we had a good team, but we were still the underdogs against Saints. And yes, we beat them 15-10. In those days, discipline, short-term tackles and all that was still very much the thing. And partway through the second half, one of the St Helens centres, I won't name him, short-term now a full-back, and he was carried off on a stretcher. And at that time, the dressing rooms were behind the posts. And with a big roar, about 12 or 10 minutes to go, he came back on, didn't seek permission from anybody, he ran through the post, back onto the field, and joined in the move that led to us getting the score. So 15-10. Quite a day that was.
Carry on walking a little bit.
Yes, okay. And the first big game away from here was the 1949 Championship final, where we played Warrington at the old main road. It's 75,000 people. 75,000 people. For an old stadium that was more open than closed, you know. And we were winning 13-2 at half-time, and we hung on to win 13-12. That was quite a thing.
And what were your memories of the final game here before before we moved to the ground down at Leeds Road? Heartbroken. I mean, I've been here since 1946, so that's my spot. Halfway line, halfway up the terrace. And I've said to more than one people that's where my ashes should go. Whether they will, I don't know. That'll depend on the missus, I expect. But yes, it was rather special. Very, very special here. But great memories, you know, when I came to save the club along with two others from... It was going to close down. The guy who had that cricket pavilion there was no interest in rugby at all. And to be fair, he was conned into taking it on. And he was going to close it down. We hadn't won a game for over a year, an entire season and a bit. And the crowds was down to about 300 or 400 over there. The stand was condemned for safety reasons. Anyway, he offered to give it away in the end. And this guy who's been an ex-player called Mick Murphy, big Irish Liverpoolian scouse, he said he would come in. And then a local builder called Jim Collins, who just made $1 million building an Asda in Oldham, so he came in, and I was the guy from the terrace side, not with their kind of money. Nevertheless, I said to take the job on. I was selling print on a freelance basis then, so the old stand was here, and Jim got me a porter cabin, which was underneath the stand there, and from there I did the lot. I was a staff of one, and the guy who came in to wash the kit on a Monday, an ex-player called Glenn Knight. Other than that, it was just me. Selling advertising, printing the programmes, sorting out people to man the stands, man the turnstiles. And it was my very proud boast that I never paid a penny, because all the turnstiles were manned by family, friends, mothers and girlfriends of players. We just we just did it on a shoestring, an absolute shoestring. But 2 years down the line, I'd lost as much money as I could afford to put in. So I decided it was time to go. And so I did. In 1990, I had to call it a draw, which broke my heart. And I went down into the dressing rooms, which were over there, told the players, and they gave me a great big round of applause. And I blubbed like a 10-year-old. I really did at the thought of leaving it. But I just had to do it. But funnily enough, at that time, we had lots of disputes with other clubs about contracts and deals and transfers and things. And in my private life, I'd had a bit of business life, I'd had a bit of time doing industrial relations. So it was decided that legally I was the man. So I handled the club reasonably well without ever paying anybody to represent us. And when I gave up, the secretary of the Rugby League, a guy called David Oxley, lovely man, came to me and said, "What are you going for?" I told him. He said, "Well, would you come and join the disciplinary panel?" He said, "I've got ex-players who said he didn't do it, ex-referees who said he did." He said, "I'd like somebody with a balanced view. So would I join the disciplinary?" So I did that for about 10 years. And then it was coming back from a World Cup game with the boss of the then referees, the Australian called Greg McCallum. I said, "I've got some spare time, what can I do?" He said, "Will you start looking at all these tapes?" So I truly was the one-man panel of looking at all the games and finding all the misdemeanours, which I did for quite a long time. Got the odd one wrong because you had to zap through, had to get through every game in about 40 minutes, had to do all 6 games, so, and then discuss it with somebody. So did that a long time. So I did 24 years at the Rugby League, which I was very, very happy to do. Once I had left the Rugby League and could be a bit involved down at John Smith's as it was then, Ken very kindly made me into a life member, and he made me into what's called an associate director. The memories from here, utterly, utterly amazing. Like at one point, this was all matted, this ground, and this had all got clogged up, and we decided we'd do what's called a verti-draining, which is like a plough. You plough it up, pour sand in, close it up again. When they got under those posts over there was a clunk, and the ashes of one of the former players popped up in his urn. A bloke called Spanky Dyson, or Frank Dyson, who was the fullback who went behind this Australian Johnny Hunter. He used to have the Hart pub down there on Fartown, Bradford Road. So we put him back very carefully, but a bit deeper down this time. So I don't think it's ever come up again. So many people were so good that our loose forward is a guy called Malcolm Branch. His mother ran the supporters club behind the post there. There were just so many people who gave. Trevor and Sheila Kay, and just loads more people. And a friend of my current wife's husband, he had a haulage company. So I said to the newspaper, because we used to get reported in the Examiner then, there was an actual rugby reporter, believe it or not. So I said, would everybody come down on Saturday morning, we'll clear the ground of all the rubbish. And we had so many tipper lorries of stuff going out, and we left it looking something like. So yeah, then came the summer holidays in 1989. This was all matted, so I got a load of kids in, and we were digging up this plantain weed, which is like a mini banana thing. So they were digging away with all these knives that scrounged from somewhere, and they all got obviously free tickets for the first 3 games. So it was just run on a shoestring in my time, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant to be involved in the saving of the club. I mean, that was all concrete slabs, obviously, in rows, and then there was a centre gangway that rode halfway along, so you could walk in and then come down to the front half or climb up to the back half.
How far up did you stand?
Oh, halfway up, just in front of this walkway. And it's exactly the same height above the pitch as the seat I have at the John Smith's now. Not John Smith's, where we are now. Yes, I'm I'm bang on the halfway line at the back of the director's box. It's just the same height. So I've watched all my rugby, really. And a few years ago, there was a choir at Wembley. They wanted one from every club. And amazingly, from here, nobody applied. I thought, we can't have the Home Rugby League not represented. So daft as I was, I applied, and I used to be able to sing a bit back in the days. You won't know it now and you won't even know the name, but I used to be a dead ringer from a guy called Lonnie Donegan. We were absolutely identical. So we went on the pitch and we did a bide with me, all wearing our club colours. That was a good day. That really was. Yeah.
So just looking at the pitch now from sort of this angle, a little bit lower down from where you used to stand. Who stands out in your memory of one spectacular try that you've seen scored on this field?
Well, I'll tell the story first. We had this beautiful full-back from Australia called Johnny Hunter. He could catch a ball on the run like nobody I've ever seen. But equally, he was short-sighted. So he saw it when it was coming, then he lost it, then he caught it. Anyway, he caught this really, when they didn't really do what you call the bombs then, but this was like a bomb. So it came down to him, and he caught it, and he set off for the line down there. And he went 50, 60 yards, put it down between the posts. There was just one problem. It was our dead ball line. He should have gone that way. But catching the ball spun him round, you see. And then the other story is this famous Australian winger, this Lionel Cooper. We used to play Halifax on a Christmas day and then return match on the Boxing Day. And we always used to lose at home and win away for some reason. It happened more than it didn't. Anyway, we're there and we're going down there. Cooper's going down his left-hand wing. And he had this Welshman, international Welshman called Arthur Daniels, who couldn't really catch him, but he did. He managed to get his hand inside Cooper's shorts. And Cooper was so strong with his big thighs. Anyway, he's pounding away, and suddenly everything comes off. It's shorts, jockstrap, the lot. So what do? Do you cover up or score the try? He scored the try. And then he covered up. Yeah. Lots and lots, many good stories. And we used to have a thing called the Lockwood Brass Band used to come before every game and play. There's a lot of ex-servicemen being early after the war. And there was a guy who'd been wounded in the war who had a limp. And he used to have this big blanket to throw your pennies into, but people used to try and hit him rather than the blanket. But they used to get good money. And when it was at the takeover time in 1988-9, and we got the ground looking something like, I invited the Lockwood Band to come down and play this famous song, which you may never even have heard of, called Hurrah for the Claret and Gold. Yeah, a song. But it was actually for the rugby union team who won the Yorkshire Cup, known as Toad Tin Pot, for the first and only time in about 1890-ish or something like that. And this song was written for the music hall that very evening, and it mentioned all the players' names. So I got them to come down, as I say, and play this music, but I got a tape recorder, that dates it, doesn't it, in the main stand over there, and I recorded it. So I've still got a copy of that. Hurrah for the Claret and Gold. So, and then it went on to name all the players. But just so many lovely people. There's this family called the Burhouses. Well, they just did everything. Every mortal thing around the car park, they did the maintenance. Keith especially, good friend, a few years younger than me, but died sadly earlier. There wasn't a job he wouldn't do. And these floodlights, well, there used to be more single bulbs than they are now. These are high-powered duals, but there were about 10 lights on every one, but they were all done. So it was like a domino effect, you know. You'd had one of these floodlights, and when there was enough money, Keith, to his eternal credit, used to climb up there, no safety belt, nothing, with a bulb in his back pocket, and fit it in. I just got, you know, it just goes on. There are so many people who've done so many things to help this club stay alive. lovely couple who you may know the names of, Keith and Sheila Kay, who's been much involved with the Supporters Club over the years. You know, they just do so much helping the things get going, doing raffles, providing money for the juniors, manning the turnstiles up at Sallandine Nook. Just, I suppose other clubs have the same number of people, but I wouldn't know. All I know is what's happened here. And I've been so lucky to have known so many lovely people who've done all these things for the club. I really have. Yeah. Behind the post there, we had a really good scoreboard. And I got a friend of mine who had a furniture company to restore it. And in those days, no electronic scoreboards. You used to have these sheets of tin with goals, tries, points. And you'll still hear it very occasionally from any old person that talks about the scores. Especially John Keir, he will say it. He's got the tins moving now. A lot of people wouldn't know what that meant, but it's because we're scoring and they're taking the tins off that says 2 tries to 3 tries and so on. Yeah, keep the tins moving. And behind there was a free paddock for school children. It's called the boys' pen. I don't suppose you could say that now anymore. It's a children's pen. And when we got, like I say, the club going again, we drew Saints in the cup. Well, we had a safety officer at that time who was paranoid. It was not too long after the Bradford fire. So he said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. So I said, well, he said, I want all the Saints spectators behind the posts. So we bought some of that really cheap chestnut paling that you have on fences out in farmers' fields. And we put it up to stop them coming up here. Well, they entered into the game and they thought, sod this for a game of soldiers. And they just walked over it, flattened it. And finished up with us, but there wasn't a minute's bother. That's a minute. Yeah.
And you think there that they had the old free paddock for school children. Now the Giants are doing, they're keeping that alive somewhat with the free under 12 season tickets.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
Just how much do you think kids coming through and getting to experience Super League rugby for free will keep fans coming?
Well, it
back
can only help because if the club has one problem, it's got an older fan base than a younger fan base. And as we get no exposure in the Examiner and it's football, we need every media avenue to get out there to try and persuade some younger people to come. I know there's a Cowbell Army and some others, and you see the people who go away to away matches. There's some younger ones there, but they are a tight little bunch of, 150, 200, something like that. So, yeah, we just need to try and consolidate that.